It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather. And because we get hungry from time to time, we're sponsored by Marco's Pizza, who, by the way, has a great deal for the week. I'll talk about that. Plus, we're giving away free pizza tomorrow. Your name might be on the list if you've entered into the drawing, because it is random, but we will share that coming up. Some news, anyway, on that in a moment. I want to talk about the rainy weather that we're going to get tomorrow. I know what some of you might be thinking if you spent a great deal of time here. Maybe this is home. Maybe you grew up here. Maybe you're just passing through in terms of the military. But either way, February is typically, not always, typically the driest month of the year on average. Over the last 10 years, 5 of them have been above normal, and this is actually one of them. In fact, you can see from this image that we have had quite a bit of rain, even going far back as last Sunday. Sunday, we had 1.66. That broke the daily rainfall record. So if the entire 28 days, and I guess 29 if you count the leap years every 4 years, we usually see about 2.90 inches of rain. Now, if I advance this map just one step further, you can see 2.90 is actually the driest of all these numbers. We average about 6 in July, maybe just under 6 in August. And last year we had like 5.91 in February, which almost resembles August, right? That was last February when you had the snowstorm on February 19th in 2025. But it is interesting to note, if you look at where we've been, we've just had a trace today. We had about over an inch the week ago Sunday, and now we're going to add a little bit more. We only have 3 days left to the month, so it's interesting to see that we're now over 3.5, and if we get another inch, you could be looking at 4.5. Some love that, some think that's not good news. I'm going to talk about that in terms of the growing season here in a moment, because I had a question that was asked of me from Patrick Kelly, and I'm going to answer his question that he left last night that I didn't have at the ready, but I do today. I did my homework, Patrick, so stay with me. But as far as the rainfall, yeah, it's just an average, right? If you think about it this way, there are times, if you recall when you were a student, maybe you were like studying really hard and you got an A or an A+, but then there was the next week you had a quiz, you didn't study, you were kind of not even paying attention in class, and you got an F, right? You got an A and you got an F, and it averages out a C, right? To tell somebody you should be a C student, right? Well, maybe if I'm studying, it should be an A student. But the average is an average. It's not something we should always expect, but the distribution is we've had 5 above average, 5 above average, or at least 4 above average over the last 10 years, and several that have been below, and 1 right near normal. So I just find it interesting. All the rain you see in Kentucky, Tennessee is heading here. A shout out to my East Tennessee followers and watchers in Knoxville. All that rain that you have right now is heading here. Should be here between 3 and 4 in the morning. Most of it should move into North Carolina first. Does that help you? Have an umbrella close by. Maybe it's in your car, it's in your vehicle. Maybe you've left it at home. You're not even sure where that is. That's okay. You still have some time. It's only 7:43. But the clouds are going to continue to gather tonight. And eventually, we're going to see some of that rain that's moving around Bristol, Virginia, Bristol, Tennessee, and moving across parts of Tennessee now. All that's headed in this direction. A lot of clouds in place now. As I mentioned, we picked up a trace earlier in the day. But I want to show you the rain later this week. This is 6 o'clock, representative of anyway. Hours from now, we're going to see a lot of rain in North Carolina and some in the 757 as well. So it is going to be a soggy day. I would place at least an 80% chance of it raining where you are, but it's going to be at times, maybe argue it's a 100% chance that you get wet and you have need for an umbrella if you're outside at any length of time. But once we move into Friday, a lot of that energy is going back down toward Myrtle Beach, maybe even further south towards Savannah. So that means we're going to get some sunshine on Friday, maybe not right out of the gate, but I do think we're going to have some improving conditions Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Isn't that good? You're like, yay, I like to hear that. So let me just get to set the stage here, and then we're going to get to some other comments from you. But the graph model shows you at 11 o'clock tonight, and if you're new to our platform, our timestamp usually can be found up here, but by the time we hit 3 or 4 in the morning, it may not be raining for you in Williamsburg or Virginia Beach, but give it a few more hours. I definitely think it's going to have an impact on the morning commute, because even at 4 a.m., it may have just started in Hertford County around a husky or maybe duck, but give it a couple more hours. There's 6, right? You say, well, I don't leave the house till 6:30. All right, let's just take it to 7 or 8, right? It looks pretty soggy. Even the southern shore of the eastern shore will probably see some rain in Cape Charles by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and certainly the peninsulas too. But clearly, far and away, the heavier rains will be further south. I'll cover more of that in just a second. By the way, if you haven't discovered Marco's Pizza, one of the benefits of watching us on this live stream is that you can actually save some money. If you get hungry, and maybe it's not just pizza, it's anything that they sell, and they sell quite a bit. As you can see, they have a great pizza called The Works. They got pepperoni, ham, green pepper, Italian sausage, mushrooms, bacon, and onions. Say that 10 times fast. But it doesn't matter if it's pizza, whether it's maybe Pozzoli, which is kind of like a calzone or a stromboli, but they have pizza bowls, subs, they have cheesy bread, they have wings, they have Greek salads, Caesars, garden salads, desserts, you name it, anything that you can find on the menu. You can use the promo code WTKR50 and you'll get half off your pizza. Now you might think that that seems too good to be true, but it's not too good to be true. It's our call letters, WTKR50. Just put it in the promo code when you get to checkout at marcos.com. Now to be fair, there are only 6 locations that are participating in this particular giveaway with the free pizza that we're going to announce tomorrow and the 50% off. It's the 3 in the 757 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk, but we'll be announcing those winners come tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. One of the things I look forward to on Thursdays is giving away free pizza. All right, I want to come back on camera for a second. As you can see, my Marco's there. But I want to mention that I did get a question yesterday from someone named Patrick Kelly. If I pull up his name here, I believe his comment from yesterday. This was left, let's see here, 24 hours ago. He said, David, when is the last frost in Virginia Beach? And when can I plant my garden? Now, if you watched me yesterday evening, I didn't want to just necessarily give him a knee-jerk reaction. I could probably conjure up Knoxville's first and last frost a lot easier because I've been there, was there for 15 years. I've just now earmarked my 1-year anniversary here, so I was able to find some of the things in my archives. So to give you an idea, here is the expectation of when the last potential frost will typically occur. Now, granted, some of these numbers may be small, so I'll read some off of them to you, but the frost, usually the last one is about the 30th of March in Norfolk. NTU, referring to the Naval Air Station, that's about the 11th of April. So if I zoom in a little bit tighter, I believe, there it is. Maybe it's easier to see. Portsmouth, and maybe not Portsmouth, Newport News, maybe around the 15th, April 15th is tax day. This might be the time in Suffolk, about the 6th of April, that statistically your last frost is around that time frame. But it's much sooner for the last freeze. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The last freeze will typically occur around St. Paddy's Day for Norfolk and about the 29th of March for Virginia Beach, around the Naval Air Station in Oceana. So you're looking at some, obviously there's a couple of days there separating the two, but if you're going to get down and dirty and start planting and getting aggressive in the soil, you probably want to wait until that first full week of April is gone. Because whether it's the freeze, which occurs maybe as late as St. Paddy's Day for Norfolk, or maybe it's the frost, which usually can occur as late as the end of March, early April, it makes sense to wait. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I did want to follow up on my note. I said to Patrick that I would do my best to give him an answer tonight. So there you have it. And he said last night, okay, sounds good. And I hope and I wish you the very best in your growing season this year. Again, you have some time. When you get some rain, I think it helps. It helps the water table. Speaking of which, 8 o'clock, I'm going to import some new comments tonight. But let me get back to the timeline so that you are prepared. Rainy day tomorrow. I'm putting 80%. But let's be fair, it's probably going to say, I should have been 100% because I got wet. You know how that conversation goes. It doesn't go well. I always tell people probability is not everybody's strong suit. Everybody has a great chance to get soggy tomorrow. You might say it's gross, but it doesn't necessarily cover every neighborhood. Like at noon, it might barely be raining in Saluda in Middlesex County. But it could be coming down in buckets in Elizabeth City, in the Harbor of Hospitality, where you see some orange. That's in the intense rain. Maybe around Franklin or Ahoskie. Downpours. But maybe it's just like a little drizzle in Onancock. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody's going to have the same experience, but it's pretty close. Everybody's got a good chance of getting wet. so an umbrella packing it would probably be a good idea. 3 o'clock doesn't look much better for Elizabeth City. Let's be fair. Edenton, Ahoskie, Bertie County, soggy, soggy, soggy. So be prepared that tomorrow will have its moments. It will have some downpours, but you can see that rain breaks up maybe at 5, but it might take until 8 o'clock to get out of here. There's 8 p.m. It's certainly out of Franklin by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So when I'm streaming with you tomorrow night, giving away free pizza for Marcos, it should have ended in Norfolk if this model verifies. Most of the Eastern Shore, long gone. Williamsburg, long gone, but still raining hard in Duck by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Does that help? Because if I move this a few more hours forward, there's not much anywhere to see except the telestration markings, and I'll take those off there, right? So again, cloudy skies by 11 o'clock next Thursday. Just checking in with your comments. If you have a note, this would be a great time to say, hey, I got a question. Hey, I want to change the conversation entirely and talk about something else in the weather world. I'll be happy, most happy to talk about that with you. I got some new notes here, some of the ones that are importing now. If I could pull this on the screen, I think they're coming in here. Maybe there have been a few. I see a few on here. I hit refresh. I see a note from Kim. Kim Thompson-Jones says, stay safe. She wrote that 9 minutes ago. Kim, welcome. Glad to see you here. Marilyn Bell from Tennessee, White Pines, saying happy Wednesday. We're expecting heavy rain in East Tennessee tonight. Yeah, well, your rain, Marilyn, your rain is coming here, right? So you are the canary in the coal mine. The rain that you're getting may get more intense when it gets here. It's going to follow a little conveyor belt, and it's going to come into town. Cha-cha, now you're right into town. Well, we're going to have kind of a really lousy day to be outside. Just saying. But at least you were prepared. And now that Maryland is experiencing that rain, we have now confirmation that it is raining in parts of East Tennessee. I got Kim on here. She was saying, good evening, everyone. Glad to have her here. And who else do I have on here? Taj Brown. Maybe someone's asking for Taj. Luke, I guess this might have been last night. He's saying hi. Yeah, that was 23 hours ago. So I have some of my old comments mixing in with my new ones. Who knew? Okay, so we're still spinning along here. Let me take you through Friday morning. We live for the Fridays and the weekends, don't we? I mean, some of us do. Maybe you are one of those people that are excited about the weekend. 7 o'clock on Friday. That looks like a winner because it looks partly to mostly, but it looks like it's partly cloudy for the end of the day. Ooh, that looks decent, right? Because if we could get some of these clouds out of here, Friday afternoon might be pretty good. Might be pretty sunny for the Eastern Shore, Exmoor, Cape Charles, Onancock, even Wallops Island could have a sunny finish to your Friday. Franklin, Ahoskie, fewer clouds by the second half of Friday. I think that trend looks good. Very good. Starry skies on Friday night. And if you were really just interested in how windy it's going to be, because we just looked at this timeline, this represents the wind gusts and precipitation. The highest winds tomorrow look like they're either the Outer Banks or the Eastern Shore. But the Outer Banks showing, 35, 36? At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So when this rain that's coming in from Tennessee and Kentucky finally makes landfall here, it's going to come in with some winds, especially along the coast. Maybe not so much the Eastern Shore, but the projection here is that we're still going to have some gusts along the Outer Banks north of 30 miles an hour. But really, not a whole lot along the south side by the time we hit 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that is consistent with what I've been seeing in some of the data. I've seen some modeling with 5 to 10, maybe more like 5 to 15, and I've seen some of the modeling that was more like 10 to 25. So 10 to 25 seems like a pretty good middle ground, given the fact that you're going to find some variability. Where the winds are strongest, where does that line cut off? It may be, in fact, your neighborhood. So be prepared for a wind-driven rain in some cases along North Carolina. Rainfall forecast from the European model has bounced everywhere. As far as Monday, it was spitting out, I believe, 1.5 if you watched me on Monday. Then it said, no, the next day, it's just 0.1. And now today, it's what, 0.6? Maybe it goes to 0.7. Oh, 0.7. All right, so 3/4 if you add Thursday evening. So now it's 0.7. So now it's like, can you please make up your mind? Not a whole lot. As I said, it was trending further south, but I still think based on the modeling that we are seeing, you probably can expect at least an inch in many parts of northeast North Carolina and probably a half inch or less up here. There's been some variability with these models. Sometimes they don't have a good handle. And when it revolves around snow, boy, do people like to let us know about it. Oh, you got it wrong, or you got it right. Sometimes it can be very challenging. But if you look here, the bigger picture would suggest by the time we hit Thursday night, Friday morning, it's gone. Some areas will very limited amount of rain from Roanoke to Richmond, but I think it may be particularly heavier. I would expect probably at least an inch for Edenton and Nags Head, even though this is the European model. Some people love and adore that one too, but this one I think I might be undercutting the amount. I did get some reports about wildfire smoke today. Show of hands, a show of comments. Did anybody have that issue today? Was it even something that anyone even noticed? But there have been some wildfires that would appear around South Florida, and maybe even some burning that might be controlled in Atlanta or out suburbs of Atlanta and South Carolina. I don't know if that was even something that people noticed, but would love to hear from you. So that's why I love having this format. You can dialogue with me. I will look to see if that's been an issue for you, but at least the future wildfire smoke would take it out to sea. And by the time we hit 8 o'clock Thursday morning, can we all agree it's probably going to be raining? So smoke is going to be the last thing that you're worried about come tomorrow when it's raining, right? You're not even going to notice it. It could still be in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but I don't think it's going to be a big issue, although South Florida continues to show signs of burning down there. And again, some of that could be controlled. I just don't have the intel on that, but I can tell you wildfire smoke should be shortly out of the picture if it is at all. Current conditions. Didn't mean to put the Bay camera on there, but this is actually downtown Norfolk, where our own Norfolk Admirals are on the ice right now. They started at 7:05. It is now 7:56. The scope, they had a winning Wednesday game. Normally they'll add a Friday or Saturday game. Not this week. It's just tonight, and it's a one night only of this week. But they're playing hockey against the Gargoyles of Greensboro. Nothing like that? Anyway, I find that interesting. Temperatures very mild outside of the scope. We have temperatures in the 50s right now. And if you didn't know, we were very toasty today, on the order of 16 degrees warmer today than yesterday. I know, 16 degrees, that sounds not maybe a whole lot better, but it was way better because yesterday's high was only in the 40s, low 40s. Got a note from Taj. He says, hey, he says, I'm here. And it's better late than never. We were waiting for you, Taj. We were all tapping our feet. We were crossing arms. When's Taj going to get here? Actually, but we are glad you're here, though. Very happy that you're here. And we'll keep going because I find it interesting. The 16-degree jump we got in temperature today will maintain itself, carry into tomorrow. Even though it's rainy, we'll still be in the upper 50s to near 60. We have the potential to get close to where we were again tomorrow, despite the fact that clouds are on the increase on our cameras. Now, 35 degrees happened according to the airport records at 12:06 in the morning. So if you really are looking for a 24-hour maximum and minimum temperature, we hit 35 in Norfolk at 12:06, and we finished the day, oh, there's 58. We finished at 59. Oh, can you show me a 59? There it is. 59 occurred at 2:31 p.m. So 59, if I'm doing my math correctly, you can always check my math with one of those computer calculators. But yesterday, we hit a high of 43. So yeah, that would have to be 16-degree bonus. 16 degrees, what's 16 degrees among friends, right? You got a 16-degree bump. Our friends in Elizabeth City hit 60. They hit 60 in Edenton today. How warm were you? Do you have a backyard thermometer? You could share that. Put it in the comments. I'll put you on the screen. I'll do that. But I do find that this is more easier to take. It's easier to take than to have a couple of days in the 40s after the big storm, the blizzard, the winter storm. That was the after effect. For us was 2 cold days on Monday and Tuesday. But now, showing signs in the upper 50s. And probably a week from tomorrow, I'm going to go out on a limb here, we have a good chance to be well into the 60s, maybe flirting with 70. What day is that? That would be March 5th. March 5th and 6th look very warm to me, and I'll show you evidence why I would think that with some of the prevailing upper air patterns here in just a moment. Right now it's almost 8 o'clock, 7:59. These are the 8 o'clock readings, however. It's 50 in Newport News, 53 in Hampton, 53 in Virginia Beach, may have just changed there, 51 in Chesapeake, and in Poquoson we've got 52, while there are 49 in Franklin, 53 in Hertford at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on a Wednesday night, the 25th of February, 50 in Windsor, and only 43 in Emporia at this particular time. I got a note from Brian. I want to say hi to Brian. Brian's here. He says, good evening, neighbors. Good to see Brian. Brian, I'm curious to know, did you enjoy today? I know it wasn't like in the 60s or 70s when we think of spring, but late winter, I'll take an upper 50s kind of day. Maybe you would too. Would love to know what you think, and we'll come back and revisit Brian if he has a comment. I'll see what he posts here in just a moment. But Nags Head 49, you can see that cold air is beginning to retreat in purple across the Great Lakes. It's still there, but it's not as pronounced as it was earlier in the week. It is 82 in San Antonio. If you could teleport to any one of these cities, I imagine if you're a warm weather fan, you'd be in Phoenix, maybe San Antonio along their beautiful Riverwalk, or maybe, I don't know, Los Angeles. Oh, they're in the 60s. Vegas is even cooler than Phoenix. They're at 75, while it's only 20 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. That probably seems warm to those residents in Minnesota. There you go. 59 degrees was today's high, and the record high was 81. We did that 3 times. 1930, 2017, and then the very following year on the same day, 2018. You don't see that every day, but it's a threefer. We had a trio of record high years, and yes, the Weather Service does keep track. Some people will only post the most recent of 2018, but then you're missing out on the other history. That's why I like to show you both. And if you're looking at the Norfolk February highs, we've had 10 days above normal, 15 days below normal. And we've only got 3 days left. Oh, and you want to know another cool factoid you can take to the water cooler if you're there tonight, or maybe just tomorrow. But we're 10 days away from the end of daylight standard time. 10 days away. 7th, that would be Saturday the 7th. Before you go to bed, we're going to spring forward, and that's when all the anger comes about. You mean I'm going to lose an hour of sleep? Not this weekend. 10 days from now, you will. And if you don't, well, then you're just not going to conform with the rest of us, because we're all going to be on a different clock, and I think we all want to be on the same time frame. But I can tell you we have 3 days left to February, and we've got 10 days left of standard time, because by the time we hit March 8th, it will have changed forward an hour. The sun will rise earlier, but of course, people will be grumpy. I notice people get grumpy in the spring when we do that. By the way, 49, showers increase. Every time frame here has the potential for showers. And if you watched me closely with the Futurecast, rain is here, showers increase. Rain is here, more showers. Showers continue at times here, and rain showers here. It's like trying to time it is pretty tough. So just grab the umbrella. Doesn't that make sense? Winds could vary from 10 to 25. Maybe a little bit higher for the Outer Banks? Absolutely. Maybe a little bit less for the peninsulas? Absolutely. But it will be rainy at times. Temperature about 58 degrees. Got some other notes from you. If you on the call want to say hi to Taj, Brian, Kim, Marilyn, and all those that might be watching at this moment. Let me keep moving as I am looking at the clock. I'm looking at my desktop here and my laptop here. When is the latest? You're going to love this question, because I did my homework. I did a lot of homework for you in terms of the history. So is it A, February, B, March, or C, April? The question is, when is the latest Norfolk has ever seen snow? Is it A, B, or C? Here's your chance to chime in. Let me know what you think. You may be surprised to find the answer. Maybe you won't be surprised. Maybe you're a weather aficionado. That would be, I guess, you're really, really smart. Fancy word for really, really smart. But either way, if that's you, I just want to congratulate you ahead of time. I know Taj has been getting a lot of these right. Maybe he didn't get yesterday right, but he did get some others right. So here's your chance. I'll give you like 20 seconds more. Give me an answer. Is it A, B, or C? Brian, Kim, or Taj, or Marilyn? Take a guess. When do you think it's the latest Norfolk has seen snow? Any guessers? Any takers? Oh, I got a C. Kim, thank you for sharing that with me. I got my first answer. She's guessing C, and you're on fire. I think Kim's got at least 2 or 3 right this week. But this question comes by way of forecaster Dara Getter. She put this together, and I love the fact that it is April. Now, what you may not know is I went ahead and did my own little Post-it note here. The biggest snow in Norfolk did come in April. The April big snow was in 1940. How much do you think we got? 1.3. Nothing has exceeded 1.3. Now, I find that an interesting number, because that roughly is what we reported from Norfolk International on Sunday. We had 1.4. So if you can imagine what we got on Sunday came as late as April 13th. April 13th, 2 days before tax day, Norfolk reported 1.3 inches of snow in 1940. We've had 13 occasions where snow has been reported. A trace fell in 2021. That's the most recent. That was 5 years ago. That occurred on the 19th of April. We had a trace in 1962 as late as April 20th. We had a half inch in 1989 on April 11th. 1.2 is the second biggest. That was April 1st. No joke there. It sounds like an April Fool's joke. But in 1964, 1.2 fell on April 1st. And we had some in 2007 on April 7th. It was 0.1. So a total of 13 times. You just don't think of Norfolk and snow in April, but it's happened. And I'm sure if it ever happens again, some people say, has this ever happened before? Yeah, it's happened before. You might be asking, how can that be? Just look at the upper air pattern and focus on purple. The purple is the Arctic air, and it does this little bouncy bounce, right? It's going to continue to push bounce down. It does push the contouring down in Hampton Roads, so it means we're going to get no consistency. We're going to get some warm days, and then we're going to get replaced with cold days, and we're going to go into March 7th or 8th in that same vein or same pattern. But the cold Arctic air is still trending in this direction. It might very well head toward Maine, but if you were to look at the latest upper air chart about 10 or 11 miles up, this is from today, so this is not a forecast but an analysis that was observed today. I can tell you, if you look at this even closer, the contouring would take this into the direction of Nova Scotia and New England. So you're probably going to follow the coloring contours here. It doesn't mean you couldn't get colder. You probably will, but given the fact that the Gulf is open for business with humidity, we'll likely continue to see 25 to 30 days from now. Say 30 days from now, that would be roughly March 25th. By the third week in March, severe weather will probably be on fire. Some places in the Tennessee Valley, Texas, Ohio Valley, very well could see quite a bit of severe weather breaking out. That's my suspicion over there. Now, as far as the Arctic air, yeah, it's going to get warm. You can see from this picture. What did I say? I said the 5th. I said the 5th of March, probably going to get very warm. You can see this toasty air. Anything in orange here is probably going to be pretty close to 70. So you're going to have some really warm days. That's March the 7th. I think leading up to the 5th through the 7th, it's going to be very, very interesting. All right, here we go. Rain showers late tonight. Talking about 3, 4 in the morning. As a start time in North Carolina, probably closer to 5 or 6 a.m. for Norfolk and Virginia Beach. Lows in the 40s. Soggy at times on Thursday. Please make sure you know where your umbrella is. Wouldn't it be awful if your significant other walked out with the only umbrella? Make sure you have one, right? I mean, of course you want to be civil and want to share. I got an umbrella. I got one to share with you. Make sure everybody has an umbrella, especially kids heading to a bus stop. But the good news is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm expecting improving conditions. Don't you like improving? I knew it. I got a note from Brian. Brian's on here. He did respond. He says, I knew it. Just my birthday in March. Okay. When is your birthday, Brian? Is it coming up? Because if it is in March, around Wednesday, Thursday, especially Thursday the 5th, I think we're going to be very, very toasty. So this is first warning. I'm going to go ahead and stick my neck out on a limb, and I'll show you why, because of these warm temperatures. Now, temperatures in the next couple of days will be ebb and flow. It's going to go back down quite a bit on Friday. We'll be lucky to hit 50, but I think we could easily be near 60 tomorrow, despite the rain. And then we're back to around 58, 60 for the weekend when the normal high is 55. And then there's going to be a backdoor cold front coming down from Maine, coming down through Baltimore. And I showed this yesterday. We're going to look at this more in detail as well. But anytime you get those types of systems, you can see some snow, pretty good snow. Maybe for D.C., for Baltimore, Delaware, New Jersey. And maybe it's snowing just north of Newport News through the peninsulas, Williamsburg, Gloucester, Matthews, the Eastern Shore. You know that drill. You went through it this past Sunday. Not expecting this will have the same kind of intensity, but there will be a precipitation change on the map. And I did show that last night. I'm going to show it again tonight. So if you saw it last night, you know I'm going to zoom in and show you how weird that dividing line will be. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Chance of rain I have is 80%, but I'm just telling you, candidly, it's probably closer to 100. Everybody's got a good chance of getting some rain tomorrow. And any rain that we get on Saturday should be like Rodanthe and maybe Ocracoke or Hatteras, some areas in the Outer Banks, about a 20% chance for Saturday, which means it's a dry weekend for the 757. I don't even think Sunday's 10% will verify. But I can tell you, as I come back on camera and reboot my system here, I can tell you that the rain on Sunday looks pretty paltry. It's really what's going to happen, say, Monday night into Tuesday. That'll be the bigger challenge. So let me go back to maps here. But you can see about 40% chance. I put the drops and flakes. This is going to be location dependent. I think the best chance for flakes will not be North Carolina, but I think it's going to be mainly north of Newport News. We'll revisit that momentarily. Just watching the cold air spin like a top, it can make you dizzy. I'm looking at the purple areas. These are the cold spells that come down from Canada, and you can see from a closer view that when these contours become warmer in color, like they do perhaps maybe not Saturday, but boy, do they really start coming back on Thursday. Ooh, didn't you just say we could be near 70 on Thursday? Yeah, look what I'm seeing. Ooh, that'd be nice. A little southwest wind action. That would push us well into the 70s for maybe South Georgia or South Carolina. But even if we hit 70 in Virginia Beach, I think some of you might be clicking your heels and like, I'm gonna feign an illness. I'm just not gonna go to school or work tomorrow. And it's like a week from now. You might be thinking about, I'm gonna make plans. Maybe if I get my vacation request in for Thursday, March the 5th, that weather guy told me it could be really nice and warm. Yeah, it could be and should be if this verifies. And I think it has a good potential to do so even through Friday the 6th. And if it is your birthday, Brian, congratulations. You've got warmer air coming to a neighborhood near you. Multiple sources for information. I always encourage you to go to the App Store, Google Play, download the First Warning Weather app, as well as having a NOAA weather radio. It's a great investment to have in case your phone loses charge. You get notifications at all times. I got a note from Lynn Old, who is, by the way, a former winner. He's a former winner. And I got to ask you, have you had your February pizza yet, Lynn? Lynn won the Pizza for a Year certificate probably a couple weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago maybe. I'm guessing. But either way, it's good to see you, Lynn. And I am going to make that announcement tomorrow night of who's the next winner. I love giving away pizza. We've given away hundreds of pizzas since last May, but it's good to see you as well. He's saying, hey, glad to be informed. I just want you to be in the know. Mid to late next week, Thursday, Friday next week, the 5th and 6th, could be very, very warm in the 757 and in North Carolina. Now, to give Marilyn Bell more props, she's in White Pine, which is east of Knoxville. She's been following me for years, so that's how I know Maryland. And you can see Knoxville's getting some rain, Bowling Green in Kentucky's getting rain, and Somerset, Kentucky, getting rain. And it is raining, to be fair, in Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee. Yes, there are two towns, same name, right on the border. So if you were to consider that this is just like light to moderate, it could get more intense as it heads toward us tomorrow morning. And I think that's a fair assessment. We see that in the modeling, but it depends on how much. I mean, is this going to fill in here in the next half hour? No. But I think between 3 or 4 in the morning, we're going to see a lot of this filling in here. And so just be prepared. If you're a light sleeper and you start hearing raindrops on the windowsill, that might be why, because it is on its way from Knoxville, from White Pine, from Bristol, Tennessee, and Virginia, heading in this direction. Okay, so that's the big picture. I wanted to show you this. This is where we zoom in to that particular trouble spot, which could be Monday, with a backdoor cold front. Now, by the time we hit Thursday, tomorrow, you can see it's pretty rainy, right? You don't need me to tell you that. But I'm just showing you the macro view because I wanted you to see the European model taking you out to the 7th of March. Once that rain exits, it moves where? It moves south toward Myrtle Beach, towards Savannah, and that's why I'm more optimistic that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be A-okay. I think we'll be okay. But then by the time we get to next week, snow in Chicagoland might mix in with some rain in maybe more snow in Ohio as we head toward early next week. Now the question is on Monday, where is that snow going to go? Let me see if I can stop it here. I believe it's the next time frame here. The time, oh, there it is. So on Monday, you're going to get a backdoor cold front that's coming in. Maybe I should make this blue, but you get the picture. It's a cold front that's dropping down from Maine, and it's also going to drop down into places like Baltimore, Delaware, Maryland, southern Pennsylvania. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see there is definitely some changeover, right? Now, someone's going to go, well, how much am I going to get? Well, it would appear a lot of this pink in Richmond would be the mix. That would be a combination of melted snow, some rain, maybe some sleet, probably lesser extent of freezing rain. But but I think Richmond's probably in the changeover zone. It looks like it's just a rain event for Norfolk, Virginia Beach, but if you're north toward Middlesex, maybe even toward Matthews County or the Eastern Shore, this is where there's going to be some problem spots that maybe they pick up a couple of inches of snow. It's possible. I'm talking about D.C., I'm looking at Baltimore. Those areas might pick up some additional snow. And this is representative of Monday the 2nd of March. What is it, the expression? In like a lion, out like a lamb. But even still, if I move this forward, it looks like it eventually goes back to rain. So it's not going to stick around a long time. I like to call it drops and flakes because, like the last event, I called it an NBD, a no big deal. This is a no big deal, but you still got to give it its due. Well, let's get closer to the event, which will become Monday night into Tuesday. Some of that snow may very well form in parts of the peninsulas or the Eastern Shore. I'll keep you posted, but right now it ultimately goes back to all rain, and that basically sets up right through the 7th of March. This is the last frame of this, goes through the 7th of March, and you can zoom back out. Again, there's not a lot of snow opportunities beyond that first couple of days in March. It looks like there's more rain on the horizon. All right, 52 in Norfolk, 53 in Virginia Beach. We've already covered our current temperatures. It's 46, though, in Beckley. A lot cooler there, and 50 in Knoxville, and 56 in Nashville and Charlotte, 54 in Hatteras. We already talked about the cold air here. It's like -8 in parts of Canada right now. They can have it, they can keep it, that's where it happens to be, but we have 60 degrees right now in Atlanta. It is, by the way, 8:15. Going to wrap up things, but I want to say thanks to all of you watching. I got Lynn who was saying yes, he's happy to be here. I got some emojis. A bicycle there from Brian. He's excited. Maybe he's going to be doing some bicycling when he get up near 70. I won Kim. Oh yeah, Taj won a pizza. I don't know if he didn't win the pizza for a year, but he did win an individual pie. So love it I love it, especially when our viewers that watch on a regular basis happen to win the pizza. By the way, dew points are right around 32. It's still chapstick weather, maybe not as dry as it's been this winter when dew points were sub-zero or in the single digits, but you can see that highway of cold air in blue, the really Arctic air in white still moving across James Bay. Notice I didn't say James River. James Bay is this body of water. So it's really cold up there where it's like -8 now around Fort Severn in Canada. That's where it'll likely stay, and most of it will move away ultimately. The good news is when the supercomputers did their work, and you can see my computer just now buffering, March the 3rd through March the 7th would give even further support that we have a good chance of running towards 70, maybe higher, as we head through the 7th. Now I'm talking about the 5th, 6th, and 7th, so if you glumped it all together, much of the country is going to be toasty and fuego. Like everyone's going to have spring fever, I would imagine, by this time next week as we look forward to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's how things are shaping up down the road. Let's get to the Eastern Shore. 46 for Bloxham, Saxes, 47 for Nancock, Chincoteague 44, Exmoor and Cape Charles. I'm expecting 100% chance. So what you're saying is there's a chance. Yeah, there's a 100% chance that you're going to get soaked tomorrow, and I hope you'll, behave accordingly, which means you don't go out without some kind of umbrella, rain boots, or something, just so that you don't get soaked or drenched. Trying to race to your car, not always easy to do without getting soaked, so make sure you have something to keep you dry. 57 for Kill Devil Hills, Nags Head and Manio. All of these locations also represent 100% chance of rain. So that's you're confident, yeah, but notice how it drops off. Once you get to Ocracoke and Hatteras, it could be a coin toss. It could be 50-50 in Ocracoke and Hatteras, and Rodanthe 100%. I mean, that may be just how the cookie crumbles. But if you're just joining us midstream, happy that you're here. The rain should be moving in North Carolina between 3 and 4 a.m. Should be knocking on the door in Norfolk and Virginia Beach around 6 to 7. And it's just going to become steadier in yellow and maybe even heavier in orange. That would put it about midday for Ahoskie, Franklin, and Elizabeth City. It's just soggy. It's just, there's no cutting around it. Very, very rainy in, say, Hertford County, toward Gatesville, and maybe even Edenton right through 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then it just pinwheels back in with a conveyor belt of rain right through about 8 o'clock. I think the turning point may very well be 8 o'clock tomorrow night for Norfolk, Williamsburg, Exmoor, Franklin. We dry out, but give it another hour or two by about 10 or 11. it should be out of the picture on the graph model anyway on Thursday. Friday's improved. We'll call it partly sunny to partly cloudy, as I suspect it'll get a little bit brighter before the sun sets on your Friday night. We all look forward to a Friday night, Saturday. So I mentioned this rain. It's all being predicated or dependent on this warm front, which is behaving very weirdly, but even still, most of the energy by Friday morning should be over parts of the Carolinas and down toward Georgia. Tomorrow morning, we're in the 40s. The good news is, even though it's mostly cloudy now, it's not going to be that cold. We dropped to the 30s this morning. We'll be in the 40s overnight. 47, 42, 48. That's a good sign. We'll be closer to 50 for Suffolk. So Suffolk, a very warm night compared to where you were. Gloucester, 47. Williamsburg, 49. About 50 for Windsor and 47 for Duck. And about 43 for Wachapreague and Melfa along the eastern shore. Gatesville, about 50. Moyock, about 50 degrees. Wednesday afternoon, I should say Thursday. How did I miss that? I don't know why, but I had that on my board today. You kind of get how quickly I put this together. But Thursday afternoon, we got some rain showers, temperatures about 50 along the peninsulas and 59 for North Carolina. My Thursday is now on this map, so at least I save face there. I'll take off the telestrator. That way it's easier to read. But 59 in Edenton. You could hit 60 in Windsor, Bertie County, 51 Virginia Beach. 53. I still think we've got a good shot of being in the mid to upper 50s, almost comparable to where we were today. It could be dependent on how long these rain showers park themselves over your neighborhood. But here is your first warning. WTKR News 370 forecast, 50 on Friday, spotty rain in North Carolina on Saturday. I really think it's partly cloudy Sunday. We set up the stage for a backdoor cold front on Monday, which would put some snow opportunities to stick on the ground for Baltimore and D.C. if you happen to be traveling. But for us, I think it's a nothing burger, meaning it's not going to stick around. Even if it did stick around, it would be more slushy. Temperatures are going to be 34, maybe as low as 32. And by that point, it may be out of the picture because eventually we're going to all rain as we bounce back up to 54 degrees on Wednesday, Wednesday about 55. It's really next Thursday, the 5th of March, I expect it to be very, very warm, well into the 60s. We might be flirting with 70. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. By the way, the Victory Landing Park picture from Newport News, the sunset on Tuesday from Charles, breathtaking. One of the beautiful things I love about our Facebook group called WTKR Photographers captured this gem. And then the cloudy sunrise from Fort Monroe today from Bradley Fullwood. Thank you, Bradley. You could see a little bit of the sun there glowing on the horizon. That's from Bradley. And then this was, I believe, Monday night, the James River sunset from Katrina Gay capturing this picture for us. So thank you for sharing that. Always like to show the beauty that we have in our viewing area. A little bit of radar noise off the coast of Wanchese at the moment, but the clouds, they are gathering, and we are optimistic. I say optimistic, I'm optimistic that the rain that's in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Maryville, and Knoxville is heading in this direction. And we're going to see it fill in, especially North Carolina first, and eventually in the 757 before the sun is up tomorrow. Sun rises tomorrow, by the way, at 6:40. That'll be a roughly good time to expect the rain to be hitting your windshield. Rainy at times tomorrow, spotty rain Friday, and spotty rain in North Carolina Saturday at 58 degrees. Oh, I got a note from Taj. I love these comments. He says, I got spring fever already. You know, just thinking about it makes you long for like, man, what would I do with a 68 to 72 degree day? I'm kind of splitting the uprights, right? Upper 60s, low 70s. What would it do? How would I change my behavior? Would I put in for a sick day or vacation day, maybe a paid time off day for next Thursday? That'd be cool. But what if somebody else does it before? See, if you're watching this program, you're watching this live stream, you have the benefit of my knowledge on when I think it's getting warm. So you could take advantage, get your vacation time off request in first, and you could be the winner with the warm spring fever day, Taj, next week. I hope you wish you the best. Just don't forget, remember, we have 50% off if you are hungry. I mean, come on, let's face it. Cyber Monday after, the holidays of Thanksgiving and all the holidays, there's like free shipping is like a big deal. Like people are like, oh, I got 20% off, I got free shipping. This is 50% off, right? This is not half your pizza. This is the whole pizza, but you get it 50% off. WTKR50 is the promo code. There's no coupon to clip. You can share this, as you can see. You can share it and screenshot it and save it as much as you want. It's good through Saturday. I urge you to check it out. There are 6 locations that are participating in that 50% off pizza, but you could do a sub, you could do a dessert, you could do a Greek salad, whatever your heart's content. If you find an item at marcos.com, they'll take 50% off right at checkout. There are 2 locations, by the way, in Chesapeake. The Chesapeake one on South Battlefield Boulevard opened last September, but the one in Norfolk is on Hampton Boulevard. And then tomorrow we're going to give away 100% of the pizza for those that win, but you have to register. It takes about 1 minute to 2 minutes. Get your address, email in there. We'll give you a certificate. If you win, your name will go up here, and then you'll have a checkbox for March right through December of 2026, and we'll carry it over. You get 12. You'll get 12 large pizzas with 1 topping every month for free. This is like pizza gold, if you ask me. Having one of these on your refrigerator, think about all the cool comments that will come in when people visit your house or come into your apartment or home or dwelling. Say, what is that? Where'd you get that? Well, I was watching First Voting Live and I won pizza for a year. Everybody will want to share some of that pizza. You'll have some opportunities to do that. The Bozzoli is like a Stromboli or a calzone. The Magnifico is half off tonight if you use WTKR 50 in the promo code. But to satisfy your appetite, I urge you to go to WTKR.com/Marcos. Okay, just a reminder, doesn't matter if the weather is sunny, doesn't matter if it's going to be rainy. Boy, is it going to be rainy tomorrow. But it's okay. We can't change today because I noticed the sun already set. We can't even change tomorrow. I've tried. I can't do that. I don't think you can either. I don't have that superpower. But you can change tomorrow, and you can make your neighborhood a better place. Because chances are your neighborhood was there long before you were born or before I was born, and it'll be there long after we're gone. So let's just make it a better place. Can we do that? We can do that. If we do it together, it's even better. And if you get pizza, you can share it. That's a great door opener. Knock on the door. Hey, would you like a slice of pizza? Anything's possible if you make it happen in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow night with the winners. Take care.